Alright, so I wanted to take some time to talk about something. And I'm going to talk kind of soft just because it's late where I am right now. And, I just, it's late. I just don't feel like, I may accidentally whisper some just kind of because I'm tired as well. So, anyways, this particular person, they contacted me and were asking about, you know, I know this person has followed Al for a while, and I'm not going to disclose or discuss this person's name because it was they privately reached out to me, and you know it's just it's nobody's business to know who it was. It's just not. It's not anyone's business. So with that said, this particular person was reaching out asking me. I guess they know I've been following Al for a while, and I guess they're reaching out because they're stressed. They've been following Al for some time, and I know they were saying that it's just hard because you feel so they're feeling so, I guess, anxious during the bars, and stressed out with trading, and the 5-minute chart, maybe it's moving too fast, maybe it's just it doesn't seem like there's enough time in the day, and then by the end of the day or the end of the week they're just really stressed and tired, and it's just hard. And the reason why I want to make this video, I thought about just messaging him back, but or just contacting him, via email, but then I kind of got to thinking that I know there's others that are going through this, and it's a hard thing. I've been through this many times, and there's always I believe you never stop improving with trading. So the reason I want to make this video is to hopefully it'll not only help this person, hopefully it'll help this person, but hopefully if it'll help others that are maybe they're struggling through the same thing, or maybe they just need a little bit of motivation to not quit, or to stop trying, or not to just give up. This person was asking, and by the way, for the record, this person was asking me about well, they were not asking me this. They didn't actually say this, but I just want to throw this out there. I'm not going to discuss where I'm at with trading, or I don't like when people. I want to be careful saying this. I don't like when people just talk about how much they're trading, or the volume they're trading, or how profitable, or how this, because I don't agree with that. The reason I make these videos is I really enjoy trading. It's a lot of fun for me. It's really fascinating, just because I learn stuff every day. You just learn more and more, and if you spend enough time doing it, you'll get more and more consistent, and it's just there becomes a point when it becomes fun. It becomes I feel like I'm becoming more and more peaceful with it, with trading. And I'm not going to discuss in details my trading, just because for one, I feel like if I open up too much about that, then that leads to people asking more and more about it, and then I feel like I'm having to prove myself. If you go to Al's fact sheets, it's Al Brooks, the Brooks Price Action website. You'll hear him under trading facts. If you look through those, there's one where someone asks, how profitable can you be with trading, and Al talks about how he used to ask people about how they were personally doing with trading, and he'd give very rude remarks, and it'd frustrate him. And then and now today he says that he understands why, and his reasoning why was kind of the same as mine, is that there becomes a point if you start telling people how you're doing that you feel like you have to prove something. I remember there's this big thing going on with Al, and people wanting Al to show his, his statements, his wins and losses, or how much he's making from trading, just to for him to prove that his trading course and all his stuff, or his books, or his webinar, that it was legitimate. And I kind of find it funny because part of me thought that would be nice to see it, and then I kind of got to thinking, that's not, would I want that if I was Al? And I kind of realized that I wouldn't, just because it's a distraction. And the reason why it's a distraction is kind of, I hope I'm making it clear, is that it feels like I'd have to prove myself, and I'm not comparing myself to Al by any means. I'm a very, very long ways from getting to anywhere close to where Al is. I'm not even near close to that. So I won't even, I don't even want to, I want to make that clear. I'm far from knowing what Al knows. But with that said, I've never met somebody, or I've never met somebody, I don't know anybody who is as legitimate as Al is. I've watched his webinars long enough to, to the point now where I can tell, what he's saying, it happens, Over here today, he was talking about this, possibly a parabolic wedge and then a sharp sell-off, and he was mentioning that today when price was like right here. He was talking about it. And I've never met someone that can do that as well as him. So anyways, I don't want to get too far off topic with that, but with that said, I'm not here to prove myself or anything like that. I'm just here I like discussing trading, and I hope that maybe these videos will help somebody. Maybe it'll help fill some pieces in. So this person was asking me about, they're stressed, as I may have said this earlier, but they're stressed, and it sounds like they're struggling. And, I completely understand where they're coming from, and it's stressful. And I'm not saying it's stressful today, because it's not near a stressful day. I love trading today, or I love trading now. Let me put it that way. But I remember back, it's really stressful starting out. It's really not starting out, but just putting all the pieces together. And if I could go back, the one thing I would do is I would trade extremely small. And if you're trading E-mini, extremely small means one contract, no more than one contract. I don't care, no scaling in. I don't care if the range is small. Trade one contract. And I would just look for 4-point swings. The problem with, I would just look to be consistent. I wouldn't care about how much I'm making. I would say, okay, how can I make 4 points a day? Or maybe, how can I take 2 swing trades a day? So like today, I may have said it earlier during the webinar, okay, maybe this is hard, but maybe you buy above that, maybe you get out on this close, but if you understand what's going on, we're at the top of the trading range, and then you see this, and then you see this, just sell at the market. Put your stop up here, pinch your nose, go for 4 points, and get out. Here's another day. Maybe if you understand what's going on, you buy above R2, but even if you don't, you say, okay, tight channel, looks like a leg in a trading range, we're high in a leg, I'm going to look to buy a pullback, and then you get this really, really steep pullback, and you say, okay, maybe this is a trend line break, it's a break below a trend line, maybe we'll get a major reversal, so I don't want to sell the first breakout, but I'm willing to sell a pullback. And if you're quick, this is basically, we had a trend line break, you can also call this a break of this bear trend, and maybe we're going to have to test down the double bottom, and when you see this going down, you sell. So anyways, but that said, I would simply, in terms of trading, I would try to trade always in, but I would not simply try and stay in the market the whole time. one thing I tried to do for a while, and okay, let me put it this way. I would focus on trying to get to the point where you can trade always in. You buy up here, you get out below here, maybe you sell above this bar, maybe you get out and you look to buy, and then you buy here, you probably get out below this bar, you buy this close, you buy above, you get out somewhere up here, and then you sell, you get out, you sell again, you get out above here, and then you hold. I wouldn't worry about doing that, but I would worry about trying to stay in the always in direction. I think the problem is when people start out, they try and do too much. Everybody, I'm going to kind of copy Al here, but he said it a long time ago, so I'll quote him on it. One thing Al said a long time ago is everybody makes enough money to do very, very well, to do fantastic. They make enough, even with one contract. They look back at the end of the week and they say, yeah, if I can make this many points a week and just work on volume, I could do it. The problem is they take too many bad trades. And I believe two things. Number one, a lot of bad trades come from stupid stuff. Buying too high in a trading range, selling too low in the trading range, all that stuff. So when you think about that, well, I'm going to go back to, I wish I could see my, can't really scroll, I'm having trouble scrolling, there we go. Here we go, I'm going to go back to Monday as an example. Don't buy high. When we get trading range open, then we get a bull breakout, and you look to the left. When you're trading one contract and not scaling in, you should be thinking in terms of how can I at minimum get a risk reward of 1-to-1, win the probability. Let me restate that. How can I get an acceptable trader's equation? Well, for 60%, a minimum is a 1-to-1 risk reward. Well, when I see this close, and I buy that close, at a minimum, my stop is below this bar, preferably down here. Well, so we got to ask yourself, okay, if I buy this close, what are the odds price goes up here before it stops me out? And at this moment, you're probably saying, gee, it's 60%. Well, it's not 60%. And it may be 60% when this bar closes. But now, it's less than 60%. Less than 60%. And now it's getting a lot worse for the bears, for the bulls, because you're betting on a breakout of a trading range. In general, successful breakouts of trading ranges have a 50% probability. And if you're high in the range, when you have a breakout, there's nothing wrong with waiting on a pullback. A pullback always comes. Now, and I'll go into that further in a minute. But when you have something like this and you're saying, gee, it looks like a leg in a trading range, I'm going to wait for a pullback. Well, that's good. Wait for a pullback. It's at the top of the trading range. There's nothing wrong with that. And you see this and you say, well, gee, I'm glad I didn't buy. And maybe you buy here, but you need the wide stop. Compare that to today. Strong breakout, but when you're down here, you're thinking, okay, it's at the bottom of the past all of August. So we're trying to break out ever since August, practically August the 1st or August the 5th. And if you're selling down here, at a minimum, you probably need to stop up here. And if you're short on this close, you've got to ask yourself, okay, what are the odds we get a 1-to-1 risk reward? And at this moment, it's probably good because we'll probably get below the low last week. But, at some point, let's say you're short down here and you put your stop up here. Well, for one, stop placement's difficult. Second, down here, the odds favor a pullback. And if you're selling here, it's better if you can use a wide stop and scale in, because then it's easier to get out. So at this moment, the spike's big. Smart bears don't want to sell it here. They want to sell a pullback. So you get a pullback and it looks very weak. A pullback after a spike is a failure attempt by the other side. So the bulls are trying to make the spike fail. Well, since the bulls are not doing a good job in getting a strong breakout, and the odds favor the downside anyway, it turns into a breakout pullback short. So a breakout pullback short. The biggest thing I would say is everybody has a comfort zone. Stay in that comfort zone. People ask Al all the time, they say, Al, I'm making 2, 3, 4, 5 points, but I'm trading a 3-minute chart and I'm consistent, or I'm using XYZ indicator, but I'm making money. Is this okay? And Al says every time, as long as you are consistent in what you're doing and you're happy with what you're doing, then no one can tell you different. You don't have to make. For me, the biggest realization with trading was you don't have to make 20 points a day. You look at these days and you say, well, gee, if I would have, bought this, or I would have bought above here, gotten out here, bought here, gotten out here, sold this close, scalped out, sold here, scalped out down, got out down here, sold down here, got out up here, bought, bought and rode this to the top, I could have made 20 points. You're right. But that's hard to do. And the key with trading is to, whatever you're going to do, be consistent and work on volume. But when you're working on getting consistent, work on trading really, really small. I mean, extremely small. Because if you do that, then it's going to be worth it. So I guess to summarize this up, for one, actually, I want to get into how I would study house stuff. Number one, accept what I would tell this particular person that was asking me about, they're struggling, they're stressed out, they're just trying to, I feel like they're reaching out to, kind of looking for hope in terms of why they shouldn't give up. And I understand that. And I don't mean that at all in a disrespectful way. I think everybody struggles going through this. It's a process. What I would recommend this person to do, as a matter of fact, what I would actually tell this person to do this. I would tell this person on Monday, whenever day they're free, if you're free Monday and you're only free for 2 hours of the day to watch the market, I would tell this person to open up the market, watch it, and don't take a single trade. I don't care how clear the market seems, or if it's the world's easiest trade. Hint, hint, there's not an easy trade. They're all difficult. Well, they're all tricky. They're not. If you understand what's going on, it makes it easier. I would tell this person, just watch. And what I would tell this person to do is to say, figure out what is the bull case and what is the bear case. But do not take a trade. So already reassure yourself and tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to take a trade. No matter what. I don't care how clear it may seem. I'm not allowed to take a trade. And I've done this many times. And just watch and just say, okay, what are the bulls doing here? Well, the bulls are, they're trying to make a double bottom, and maybe they're trying to get a bull breakout up here. Okay. So what are the bears doing right here? What are the bears trying to achieve? Okay, well, maybe they're saying, yeah, maybe they're trying to get a double top and a measure move down. Okay. Well, how are the bulls doing right here? Well, it's going sideways. There's not a sense of urgency. So it looks like a wedge, it looks like a bull channel, so a bear flag, which should be a bear breakout. We're getting a micro channel down. The bulls want this as a pullback, but the bears see it as a breakout. This may trap a lot of bulls, and maybe a lot of bulls who bought up here want to try and get out of break even, and maybe we'll get a lower high because the bears who didn't sell this because it was going down weak, they want to sell for the second leg, and then you see this and you say, bear breakout. But okay, so it's getting bad follow through. It's at the low of this range. You know, maybe this is a second leg trap, but and maybe it's exhaustion, but it may be strong enough down for a few legs down, and we ended up getting 3 legs down. And you say, okay, well, wedge bottom, and you know, Al says when you get a wedge bottom at the bottom of the range, a lot of times you get wedge bottoms at the bottom of trading ranges, and they usually lead to second legs up, 2 legs up. Maybe this is leg 1, pull back leg 2. Well, in hindsight, it was actually leg 1, pull back leg 2. But you know, if you get kind of what you know, obviously it's in hindsight, but get used to just watching. You know, you don't have to. I think the hardest thing to get into the habit of is to simply just to watch. You know, Al talked about he thinks of trading as like it's like watching a garden grow. Like you're just there to observe, and you know, eventually as you're watching, you'll say, well, gee, you know, if I sell, you know, the bulls may be trapped. They may give up. This may be a higher low major trend reversal. If I sell during below here, I make it scalp out quickly. And you know, the key is to get to that mode where you just don't care. You know, I would say really, really practice getting to the point where you're honestly you're just eager to watch. You know, eager to find out what's going to happen. You're not eager to take a trade or to make money or hoping you don't lose money, because by you telling me that you're stressed out during the day trading, that tells me 2 things. Number one, you're obviously emotional, and emotions are always derived from the probabilities of things. And you're trading too heavy a position. You're carrying too much. And I think one reason you're carrying too much is because you're only looking at, and you may, you know, you're focusing too much on one side when you're in that trade. You know, if you're buying in here, you're focusing, you're saying, oh my gosh, you know, it's not going up well. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's hard. It's hard to be long and say, well, gee, this is weak. We're at the top of a range. You know, the bears may succeed in testing back to the open. It's hard to do that, but trading small and truly getting to the point where you're just here to watch. You're just here to enjoy. You know, Al says it's like a garden for him. He just watches it grow, and you have to get to that point. So I would really focus on this. Number one, if you're trading more than one contract and you're feeling stressed out and struggling, go to one contract. And you know, if you're trading 10 or 15 you know, whatever now, reduce your size a little bit. If you're scaling in and you feel stressed out and you're trading 1, 2, 3, or 4 contracts, go to one contract. You know, I think scaling in is a huge mistake if you're not already consistent and not trading at least, you know, 5 or 6 contracts. I just think that I think people should focus more on trading really small and just work on getting a few points a day, or maybe 1 or 2 swings a day, and just work on increasing volume. And if you do that, it, you know, doesn't, you know, everyone's done the math. It doesn't take that many contracts to make it worthwhile. So number one, reduce your position size. And if you're trading one contract, then, and that's too much for you, go to forex. And go to forex and just, you know, look at it. You know, so let's look at the forex. It's not. Here's the euro dollar. Okay. Sure, it's a little slow at times, but when I look at this, I see, okay, so where's today's range? I'll start with 8. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be kind of hard to see this. But when I look at this, I say, okay, yeah, tight trading range. And I say, wow, we're getting a bull breakout, but you know, we're failing at this high. You know, why did we get this big tail and we got no follow through? And okay, so if I'm a bull and I'm long here, I got to keep a stop at a minimum down here. So I need to break out above the trading range. Al says most breakouts above trading ranges fail, so the 1-to-1 risk reward is terrible. Therefore, it's probably going to fail and pull back to the mean. So I need to look to sell. 1 bar, 2 bars, well, okay. the bulls are obviously in trouble. You know, they're thinking, well, gee, this may not be a breakout. It may be a failed breakout, and you know, they may be giving up rather quickly. I'm thinking on this part, by the way. And the bears, you know, the smart bears, okay, they're thinking, you know, failed breakout. We may close these gaps. They're probably, you know, they're licking their teeth, you know, just excited to get the failed breakout. 3 bars down, okay, so 3 bars down, probably, you know, high, temporary high, and probably 2 legs down. This looks climactic. You know, a lot of bulls took the profits up here. I'm going to short. And then, you know, down here, same thing. Okay, we're getting low in the range. You know, the stop's really, really far. That means, you know, I need a, you know, my risk is to here probably, or, you know, maybe to here, but either way, I'm selling low in a trading range. Al says don't sell low, don't buy high, don't buy up here, don't sell down here. And, you know, so Al says when you get a breakout at the top of the range, when you get a breakout to the bottom of the range and it doesn't clearly break out below it, in this case, or it doesn't clearly break out above it, Al says to wait for a pullback. So I'm going to get out here if I'm not out, and I'm going to wait for, you know, maybe a low too short. Well, that's not good. That's a pretty strong reversal and rejection of this low. We rejected it 1, 2, you know, 3, 4 times. This could be back to always in long. Maybe we're gonna form some sort of triangle. Okay, clearly always in long. Maybe you buy here and then, you know, you say, well, you know, at some point you're high and you're forming a triangle, and then this happens. Well, and that just, you know, that's why you have a stop. But, you know, you have to think, okay, to the second leg down, this is a strong breakout, may get a second leg down. Obviously, no one's expecting this, but this is a great example. You know, strong breakout. What always, number one, wait for bars to close. 95% of the time, if you wait for a bar to close, you'll be much better off. So just pretend you sold during this bar. Well, you're up a creek if you sold down here. Price back to here. So when you see this bar, you think, breakouts don't look like that. That's, you know, this isn't good. Well, and then we, you know, look what happened. We got a 2-bar reversal. You know, maybe you buy above that, but you know, you see this close and you say, you know, should I buy it? Well, I don't know. The risk is all the way down to here. You know, we've already, it's very choppy. You know, if you do, I'd certainly get out below this bar. I don't think I'd buy that. You know, I think the wise thing to say is, you know, it's a breakout. I'm gonna wait for a pullback. Very strong bars down. First left's gonna fail. Sell there. You know, maybe 2 legs down, but very tight channel. I think it's okay to get out of longs here because you're at the bottom of this kind of range. But then you can see, still though, tight channel, probably more down. And let's see what happened at the end of the day. I haven't really, you know, and it did. It sold off pretty quick. But the issue is gaps too. You look at a 15-minute chart, and that's what this looks like. So number one, trade small. Number two, just focus more on watching. You know, one thing I try and practice doing is just kind of what I just did in this video. Just focus on both sides. You know, don't look at a chart and go, okay, I would have taken this trade and this trade and this trade. Just say no. Just focus on getting in the habit of seeing what both sides are doing. Second is, if you really want to learn, and I'm biased, of course, and I don't mean, you know, I know Pat's price action. I think his name's Mac. I've looked at him, you know, numerous times. I have a friend who trades him, you know, who watches him. I think he's a great teacher. I think he's totally legitimate, and I think he's a very honest person. And I think Al's an honest person. And there's a lot of people that are traders, I think, that are honest. But if you're asking me, you know, I know Mac, and I don't know Mac, but I know Mac is legitimate. And the stuff he says, he seems very legitimate. And, you know, but I study Al, and I just study one person. Because for me, I would say pick one person. Pick Al, and what you should do is this. Here's a good test for you. If you are willing to take the time, get in Al's trading room. I know this person's been in it many times. Stay in it and just try and watch as much as you can. What I would tell this person to do is, and anyone struggling with Al, pick up one of Al's books. Yes, one of his 3, new volume books that have been around for a while. Pick them up and read through one, and just open it, and start reading, and see how long it. Think about how long it's taking you to follow along. If it takes you 10 minutes to read one page, then your first problem is lack of knowledge. One thing I've noticed, I haven't read Al's books in a while. I've been, studying really intently on his webinars. And actually, kind of for the fun of it, I was thinking more about double tops, double bottoms, and how they all kind of transition into, just I was thinking more about like head and shoulders, bottoms, and tops, and how when you think about it, they're simply pullbacks to double tops, and just kind of things like that. Just kind of thinking about things, and I went to look something up. I don't remember what it was, but I just went to Al's Trading Range book, and I was looking at, I think it was over double tops or something, to kind of think through something, and I just started reading it, and it was kind of funny. I started thinking, I was like, wow, I remember reading some of these books of Al's and thinking they give me a headache just after reading 5 pages because they're just so difficult to read. And now when I read it, I'm like, this is pretty easy to read, actually. It's pretty easy to follow along, and that just takes time. But I can promise you this: if you pick up one of Al's books and just start reading it, and keep reading it, and keep reading it, and just hammer it in, you will begin to understand it. My question to you is 2 things. And this is, when I say question to you, it is a question towards this person and a question towards everybody else watching this that's, maybe struggling or, having second thoughts or, whatever they may be dealing with trading. And I'm going to speak in terms of, Al's material, because that's what I study. Number 1, have you tried Al's his trading room? There's nothing like it. There's nothing, to me, nothing compares to that. To listen to someone not trade live, but I mean, obviously he trades live, but listening to someone discuss their thoughts during the day. I mean, you get to listen from in my opinion, one of the best. Second, have you been in there for at least 6 months if you've tried it? Because to me, if you're in Al's webinar and you give it 1 month, you're not going to get a lot out of it. I remember the first month or 2 I was in it, and I'd miss so much stuff, and I'd be like, he'd be talking about, sell the closed bears, may get trapped down here because, it's at the bottom of the range, blah, blah, blah. And I'd just be so confused on what he was saying. Or, he was saying, yeah, the market's going up, but I don't want to buy up here. And I'd be confused, what are you talking about? It's going up. Why wouldn't you want to buy? But now I realize, he's saying, I'm not long up here. Or I wouldn't short down here, because he knows it's low in the trading range, high in the trading range. He wants to wait for a pullback. So just keep studying his stuff. Maybe here's what I would tell you to do. If you're too stressed out trading, number 1, and you still want to watch the day, don't trade. Just watch for a little bit. Just take a week to just watch the day. Or, I would say, if you have the time, on Monday when the market's open, don't worry about trading. Just watch the market. Watch whatever chart you watch, and just read one of Al's books. Just start reading one, and just kind of pay attention to both, and just say, oh wow, look at that. The market's going up or it's going down, or what's one thing I notice. To me, it sounds like you're overwhelmed, and I know that feeling. So sometimes we just have to take a step back and regather ourselves. I remember one thing I've learned about trading, I'll tell you this, is the days where I would have bad days or just do something really dumb, or I would do something and just feel like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what's going on anymore, or I would have just a really, really bad day trading wise, and I feel terrible because I feel like I was getting, consistent, really good, and all of a sudden I just felt like, I was making all these just mistakes that I should not be making, and I remember being so down about it. But then at some point I realized, I said, every time I have a bad day, I learn something really important. And I started viewing bad days as a golden opportunity to teach me something. You see, it's a perspective. When you have a really bad day, you can say, oh, well, I suck at trading and blah, 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 and I'm just not good enough. And you can sulk about it. Or when you have a bad day, you can say, you know what? I'm going to take an hour. I'm going to not look at trading. I'm going to not think about trading for an hour. I'm going to come back and I'm going to think. Just look at the chart. Because that's the one thing I've learned is if you just take a look at it, even if you've had a bad day, and just sit there, something will come to mind. You'll realize something. And whenever I don't know what to do in the past, I just start studying something. I just pick up one of Al's books, or maybe look at one of his webinars and just focus on it. You'll never go wrong with learning more information. See, and the very last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to go to bed because it's late and I'm tired, is lack of knowledge. I don't want to talk bad about psychology books. I think psychology is important in trading, but I think there's a fine line between psychology and trading. And the reason why is I think there are honest people who write psychology books, and maybe they've traded, but I think there's also a lot of psychology books where these people have never traded, or if they have, they don't trade now, and it's so easy to talk about controlling your emotions in trading, or doing this or doing that, or the ways to be how to beat the psychology of the market and all this stuff. And the reality is, you have to remember, it's all about math. And the sooner you can accept that it's all a math game, and I'm not going to believe the psychology stuff of the market. Fear and greed, that's great. It sounds great, but I don't believe any of that. It doesn't make sense to me. When institutions are trading and there's a lot of money on the line, they are not doing so in fear or greed. To me, it's all calculated. Because if they're operating on emotions, then to me, they won't be in an institution for long because they'll go bankrupt. So with that said, the more knowledge you can learn about what's going on, the more you can understand price action, the less stress you will feel. Knowledge fixes emotions. So you feel emotional. I would say this. If you feel really emotional with trading, tell yourself this. Say, okay, the reason I'm feeling emotional is because I am lacking some sort of information. There's something I'm lacking in terms of knowledge that is causing me to feel a certain way. For me, I'm feeling stressed out. I'm just thinking in terms of how someone would feel. Okay, well, they're feeling, stressed out. It's going down. I'm not in. I need to get in. It's going down and down and down. But if you understand what's going on, you say, okay, sell back into the top, it failed. Sometimes a lot of times trading range is backing back to the bottom. We're in trading range, so okay, we're going down. Big tails, weak follow through, so kind of looks more like a backing. Big tails, but it's a strong breakout. Traders are selling, and they're confident that the first reversal up's going to fail. So even here, if we rally up to here, there's a decent chance we'll test back down to these closes as long as we don't get a bull breakout. So it's knowledge, guys. So I hope this finds value for you, and I hope this helps others that are struggling with the same. That's really all I have. It takes a long time, but if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to learn, guys, no one's gonna, and that's another thing. Look, guys, no one's gonna give you some secret idea. You can spend all of the time you want, because I've done it, trying to find the perfect chart. It doesn't exist. I'm just gonna be real. I trade a 5-minute chart just because I've tried the tick charts, I've tried the Renko whatever bars, I've tried all that stuff, and I came to the conclusion that, I just want to pick one chart. I like a 5-minute chart. There's a lot of information on it, and I can look at any market on a 5-minute chart and not have to deal with, and if you're trading a tick chart and you like it and you're making money, or you're getting close to making money on it, then by all means. But what I will say is don't speed up a chart. Don't go from a 5-minute to a 4-minute to a 3-minute, or from a 5-minute. If you can't trade a 6,500 tick chart, don't go to a 2,000 tick chart. Speeding it up will only make it more difficult. So focus on learning price action and not trying to find some secret, because it does not exist. And whenever you're struggling, just slow down. If you have to, take a step back. Don't, maybe set up some rules. Maybe say, okay, I'm going to only trade the always in direction. If I clearly break that rule, then I'm not going to allow myself to trade for a day or 2 days. I've done that before. So it's a process, but don't beat yourself up. Just, if you're really, really, really stressed out and trading just stresses you out too much right now, don't trade for a week. Just give yourself a week off. And during that week, just look at some of Al's books. I guarantee you, if you just took some time and took a whole week to read one of Al's books, just one book, that's doable. Depending, and I know, if you're really busy with work, and I understand, I know, everybody's got stuff they need to do, so I don't want to, if you're busy, I understand that, but take a week off and just read one of Al's books, or just study one of them, and not be in such a hurry to take trades, and just learn patience, or work on patience. So I hope this helps, and if anyone's got any questions, just either comment on this below, and I'll get back to you, or simply this is me on Al's website. That's my username. You'll probably see it here and there. You can message me on that if you want to ask more of a private question, maybe, but please don't ask about personally how I'm doing with trading, or I trade the E-mini pretty much, but don't ask me personally how I'm personally doing with trading. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't want, I'm not trying to hide something. It's just that I want to help people, and I do this because I like helping, and I know it's, Al's given me a lot in terms of information and knowledge, and I feel like you have a right or an obligation to help others. I feel like we all have obligations to help others, especially, I wouldn't be in my position right now if it wasn't for Al. So the least I could do is help others, or at least try to, even if it's helping one or two people. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to help a few people, and I like doing it. This is it's a lot of fun for me, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. And you can go to This Is Al's website. And again, I'm not in any way associated with Al Brooks. I've never even met him. So, the only reason I would tell someone to get into his trading course, or not his trading course, his trading room, is because it is just, I found an immense value in it. I've been in it for either 3 years or very close to 3 years, and it's just helped me so much. Just having the ability to ask out questions or just watching this is truly helpful. So that's my username. You can ask me if you go to this website, brokerspriceaction.com, and you can sign up for it. It's free to make an account. You just literally just type in your email and pick a password, create a username. You can go to messages. Yeah, so like right here, hope you can see this. Just click the message box, click on that when you log in, and create a message and send it to me. That's me. And yeah, I'll get back to you. So I hope this helps. I really do. And again, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.